Hey, everybody. This is Dr. John McAtamney, also known as Dr. Johnny Mac. I'm doing a program today on tone, D.D. Palmer's understanding of what chiropractic was about. I'm going to update some of the language on what D.D. Palmer talked about because he was a visionary, and there's a lot of stuff that is being done nowadays, and we can't lose our philosophy because somebody else takes it over. So, anyway, let's start with this tone. Life is the expression of tone. Well, what the heck is tone? Didi understood it, and he tried to give us some words to understand it. But let's take a look at some other understandings about tone. Tone is the normal degree of nerve tension. Tone is expressed in functions by the normal elasticity, activity, strength, and excitability of the various organs, as observed in a state of health. Consequently, the cause of disease is any variation of tone, nerves too tense or too slack. That's basically G.D. Palmer. That's what he was trying to explain. I look at it this way. Tone is balanced movement and form that creates oscillatory vibration patterns that express tone throughout the form. Well, let's talk about it a little bit more. Tone is everywhere in everything. We see it in computer language, alternating 0 and 1. Male and females in animals. The movement of the solar system. Order, tone, balanced, form. Movement of electrons and protons around a neutron, same as in the solar system. As big, so small. Order, balance, tone. Everything is integrated. Base pair oscillations in DNA. Move the guanine and the adenine, boom, 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 back and forth. You get basically different DNA. Tone is balance from a chiropractic perspective. Basically good or healthy vagal tone. Let me talk about that a little bit. Sympathetic tonia. This is where the fight-flight mechanism is active. All the people come in with tight muscles and trigger points. To have a tight muscle or trigger points, it's sympathetic tone. All the people who come in complaining of pain anywhere in their body, since their body is sympathetically dominated. Pain, tight muscles, trigger point, is sympathetic tone, fight, flight. As Didi said, the tone is too much. Now, here's the thing to understand. The longer the person is in sympathetic domination, the longer it lasts, the greater the degree of destructive survival values. That's going to be another topic we're going to dig into. But the thing that I want you to understand is there's a momentum. There's a momentum of dis ease or momentum to good health or momentum to ill health. So dis-ease can go to ill health or disease, or it can move into higher and higher levels of adaptation. Basically, health expressed. Momentum, sympathetic tonia, momentum. This momentum is part of tone. Now, here's the new model. It's called Tensegrity. It's also known as tone. D.D. Palmer's model today. Now, look at this. Palmer's tonal model is inherent in the modern concept of tensegrity. Tensegrity is maintained in a system that stabilizes itself mechanically because of the way tensional and compressive forces are distributed and balanced within the structure. In living cells, tensegrity is maintained by contractile microfilaments, which form a lattice that reorganizes locally into different forms. Ooh, innate intelligence, adaptation. Well, let's go into that a little bit. Tension and compressive forces. Tension and compressive forces. Thoughts, trauma, toxins. The 3 T's. It's important to understand as chiropractors. Since we look at the nervous system, we need to understand all that is happening. Tensegrity, the structure of the vertebral body with the spinous apophyses and transverses evoke a tensegrity system. The bile implication of tensegrity are described by a medical physician, Ingber. Remarkably, Tensegrity may even explain how all these phenomena are so perfectly coordinated in a living creature. At the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, Donald S. Coffey and Kenneth J. Plenta found that tensegrity structures function as coupled harmonic oscillators. So DNA, nuclei, cytoskeletal filaments, membrane ion channels, and the entire living cells and tissues exhibit a characteristic resonance of frequencies of vibration. So simply, transmission of tension through a tensegrity array means to distribute forces to all interconnected elements and at the same time to couple or tune the whole system mechanically as one. Tensegrity is not limited to the cellular level, but is operative on all anatomic levels. Didi said, life is the expression of tone. In that sense is the basic principle of chiropractic. The tone and tensegrity are elegant theoretical models of practical clinical implications. Didi Palmer wrote, tone in biology is the normal tension or firmness of nerves, muscles, or organs. The relative elastic force acting against an impulse. Any deviation from normal tone, that of too tense or too slack, causes a condition of renitence, too much elastic force, too greater resistance, condition expressed as a function as disease. Professor Craven, he was a professor of philosophy at the Palmer School of Chiropractic, wrote, we have seen that the normal air pressure at sea level is 15 pounds to the square inch. In order to the body will not be crushed by the weight, it is necessary to have an internal resistance to equal this weight, and the internal resistance is maintained in the body by tone of all its parts. It is maintained by the expression of mental impulses in the tissue cells. 27, Stevenson noted that the cord tension and cord pressure may cause impingement upon the spinal cord. 4 decades later, neurosurgeon Bragg said, adverse mechanical tension on the spinal cord may result in abnormal neurological function and the development of pathology. Dr. Wall reported that the results of experimental stretch on neuropathy in an animal model, 6% strain, the amplitude of an action potential had decreased by 70% in 1 hour and returned to normal during the recovery period. However, at 12%, conduction was completely blocked by 1 hour and showed minimal recovery. Didi said there's a vast difference between treating effects and adjusting the cause. Health is dependent upon maintaining proper tone in the nervous system. So as Didi explained, life is action governed by intelligence. Intelligent life, the soul, depends upon the execution of functions. Functions performed by normal energy is health. Disease is the result of normal performance functions above or below the normal degree of activity. Impulses properly transmitted through the nerves result in functions being normally performed, a condition which results in health. Lee, not Bruce Lee, but Lee, this Dr. Lee, described the theoretical model of the central nervous system, CNS, in all disease processes in the Journal of Medical Hypotheses. Every malfunction in the periphery, in contrast to the central nervous system, must be sensed by the CNS in order that corrective measures be taken. The CNS is universally involved in all diseases, regardless of whether they arise from the periphery or indigenous to the central nervous system, whether initiated by various infective agents, be it viral, bacterial, rickettsial, or parasitical in nature, or results from exposure to toxins, radiation, physical injuries, or emotional upheavals. The central nervous system is involved in all activities of the body. Tone. Now, Bruce Lee said the meaning of life is to be lived. Well, the ability to maintain tone requires a nervous system free of interference. Restoration of tone is dependent upon correction of vertebral subluxations. Alterations in the tone of the somatic system may be objectively evaluated by using surface EMG. Altered autonomic tone may be evaluated using skin temperature measurements. Objective assessments have the potential to make chiropractic the dominant strategy of the 21st century, as modern research vindicates the discoverer's vision. These are the references for everything that was talked about today, but hopefully you understand a little bit more about tone and why it's so important and where you have to look in the 21st century to understand more about what tone is. Tensegrity involves the neuroskeleton that Didi and BJ talked about. The very fact that the spine is suspended as part of almost a gut string, holding itself up so that we don't fall into a bag of bones. And then the tension is maintained throughout the whole body so that our muscles can hold us up and move us around. So when the subluxation happens, it affects not only the balance of the neural skeleton, but all the muscles. And then the sympathetic tonia goes on. And all of a sudden, we're dealing with things like trigger points and cellulomes and fibrous muscles and muscles out of balance, facilitated, inhibited. That's not a balanced system. That's not a system that is in good tone. As chiropractors, we correct the tone, improve the brain function, and balance the system. It's important that we study and know what we're talking about based upon our history and our own philosophy and where that's going in the 21st century. Thank you for your time. Hope today was good for you and that you got a little bit of insight to what Didi was talking about. All the best. Signing off. Have a great day.